Hi, and welcome to Flourish and Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, yoga teacher and nurture neuroscience practitioner from the Yoga Hut in Tillsonburg, here to help you connect and integrate the dots to true wellness on your healthy living journey. If my own healing journey has taught me anything, it's that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. We all have our own unique path, and we will be talking about that more throughout the season. We're here today at Breeze Fresh Market. They are one of our show sponsors, located in Ostrander. So a big thank you to Bree and Kyle for welcoming us here to film the show. And a big shout out to our additional show sponsors, Laura from Escape Salon and Spa in Tillsonburg, and Jen from Hometown Style in Ingersoll. On today's episode, we are joined by registered social worker Emma Kelly. Emma supports and works with teens, adults, and children as young as 7 years old at Counselling and Play Therapy Services, located in both Woodstock and Tillsonburg. She believes deeply in the power of safe connection, that when we feel seen, supported, and accepted, real healing can begin. Welcome to the show, Emma.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Yeah, really happy to have you here. And we're going to talk to you, and also you're kind of representing the team at Counseling, Play, and Therapy Services. So tell me a little bit more about the work you do, what led you into social work, because you have a kind of unique path as far as how the dots have all kind of connected to get you here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So back when I was in high school and looking sort of what I wanted to do, going into college and university, I was pulled towards more of a psychology background, wasn't really sure where I wanted that to take me. And as I entered universities, when I really started doing a bunch of volunteer work. So I volunteered in various different areas with our friends on the street, in a crisis response or a crisis role, with the police, and kind of just with all of these different experiences kind of pointed me in the direction of counseling specifically. I saw a huge need for it in the different areas I worked with in our community, even though it was very different areas. I just saw that that resource was there, but not a lot of people were aware of it or really understood counseling or therapy as a whole.
Right.
And that's what kind of motivated me to go into it as more of a career. And that's where that sort of took off.
Okay, I love that, volunteering really helped to guide you. And that's a great takeaway for maybe, a younger viewer, or someone who's not sure of where they want to go or what they want to study. Yeah, if you could maybe speak a little bit about that as far as, how could someone get started volunteering?
Yeah, well, I did my whole BSW online, which is sort of what led me to volunteering, because I wasn't in person in class. So I was kind of lacking that connection and that experience. It was great during COVID specifically, but that's when I turned to volunteering to kind of get that experience outside of my education and to focus on areas I had interest in or I was curious about, where I found I wasn't getting classes in that area. So when it comes to just volunteering, I found every organization I reached out to was super welcoming, and everyone needed extra hands. And it was really just simple as Googling what was local and where my interests lied, and then just sending an email out to say, hey, what do you have? And kind of just going from there. And I think it was great experience, especially because I did online school. I just really opened my eyes, and you learn a lot of the textbook book work, but this was showing you the actual in person, what's actually going on. Just a huge broad perspective that I found kind of gave a whole rounded experience that I feel like I wouldn't have gotten if I just focused on my studies.
Yeah, well, that's great. Good for you for kind of taking that into your own hands, and it seems to have led you into something now that you're very passionate about. So talk to me about your role now. You work at Counseling and Play Therapy Services. There's 2 locations, I believe, in Oxford County. So talk a little bit about what you do there, and then also what some of the services are within the clinic that your team also offers.
So we do have a location in Tillsonburg and Woodstock. Not all of our therapists work out of both locations, but both locations do have therapists that work out of it. So we're able to take clients at both locations. The team at Counseling and Play Therapy Services, all of us come from various different backgrounds, various different education levels. So we have such a wide scope of services that we offer. Me personally, I work with clients as young as 7 and up, and I don't really have a specific area that I specialize in, so I'm pretty open to taking like young clients, teens, adults. But there are some people at our clinic that do specialize more in couples counseling or family therapy.
Yeah.
We all have, like I said, such a huge variety of a background, so it's such a unique, interesting team that's there, and we all have a bunch of different levels of education, so it's such a welcoming and inclusive environment, I find, at the clinic.
Wonderful. What's been your favorite part of working there so far, or in general, like the work that you're doing now?
Working there specifically, getting to know people in the community and the team, and having access to the continuing education that I've had available to me since I've started there. That's been absolutely perfect to keep going, even though I'm done school, to just still be learning and having that sort of sharpness and curiosity. And sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Your favorite part of, the work, like actually working with clients now, like what are you taking away from it?
My favorite part of working with clients now in person is being able to be working with them in person. And all of my volunteer roles were in group settings or for instance, my role with victim services, that's a lot of crisis intervention. But now my role with counseling is I'm helping people post-crisis usually, and I get to help them a lot longer than a quick, I've met this person one day. Now we're developing a therapeutic relationship.
Right.
I'm sort of seeing that journey unfold.
Yeah.
And I really like being able to help people for more of a longer term experience than just a quick one day sort of fix that I've had previously in my volunteer roles.
Yeah, you get to see their journey kind of continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfold. Wonderful. And if people want to get in touch with counseling and play therapy services, learn more about the services that you guys do offer, how would they do so?
So we do have a website that has all of the information. Each therapist that works there, we have our own bio and all of our education's listed and what we specialize in, the clientele we take. And we also have Facebook and Instagram as well. Those are probably the 3 main ways to get a hold of us and kind of see what we offer. In terms of setting up an intake, that would be the first steps to seeing what's available, and then getting help from Dana, who is our secretary. She would be the one helping everyone set up intakes, answering questions that people would have, and sort of finding the right fit for them when it comes to which therapist.
Wonderful. And just mention the website again.
Counseling and Play Therapy Services.
Okay, great. So you can look that up and find the right fit for you. If that's something that you're looking for, stay tuned. We will be chatting with Emma more after this short break. So welcome back to Flourish and Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, joined today by Emma from Counseling and Play Therapy Services. So I think it'd be good to talk about, maybe some of the misconceptions that people have about therapy. Sometimes, or I shouldn't say sometimes, I think there still is a stigma around people thinking that therapy might not be for them, or there's something that holds them back from seeking out that support. What is your thoughts on what some of those misconceptions might be?
So there's absolutely still a lot of stigma. I notice it's been getting better with the way our social media is, and people are more open and talking about mental health and therapy. But those stigmas are still there. One of the main ones I still come across is when it comes to talk therapy, the thought or notion that you have to come into your first session and say absolutely everything that's on your mind, everything you've experienced, and just lay it all out on the table. That's just not the case. A lot of it is you go at your own pace, and your therapist is not there to push you to speak about things you don't want to talk about, or to sort of rush that process. It's very individualized for every single person. Which I guess comes into the second stigma, is that therapy is a one-size-fits-all, but that's not really the case either. It's very individualized. Everyone comes into therapy with different reasons that they want to seek help, different experiences, different traumas. Trauma is something that looks different to every single person. So our therapists, we tailor our treatment plans to what our client's goals are and what they're seeking and what they're hoping to get out of therapy, and they're involved in that whole treatment plan process as well. It's something that we create together, not just something that is created in advance.
Here's what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. Another one would be that if you go for 1 or 2 sessions, or 4 or 5, everything should be completely healed. That would be amazing in a perfect world.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yes, but that is usually just the starting point. So you will get out of therapy what you put into it is something that I always remind people. So it is a lot of work. It's something to congratulate yourself on if you want to take that step in finding a therapist, because it's not easy to take that first step. And it is more work that is done outside of your sessions as well, not just inside your sessions, but you have that extra support and guidance to sort of walk you through that process. Yeah.
I love that. It's a good reminder that, you know, just because you've maybe talked to somebody and they shared something about therapy, and then maybe that plants a seed of like, oh, I wouldn't want to do that. It can be a totally unique experience, you know, that's forming that connection with your therapist, and then learning more about what you enjoy or what would be helpful for each person, right?
Exactly. Like I have clients that absolutely love journaling and meditating, and I have clients that don't love that, and that's totally fine. We don't include that in their treatment process.
Right.
So it's very catered to what they want to do, and there's no forcing, and there's no no forcing them to do anything that they are like, this doesn't really resonate with me. That's fine. We can find something that does. Yeah.
And as you say that, it's like even that alone, like just saying, that didn't really land for me. Like that's a process of like setting a boundary and speaking up for what you like and don't like. And like there's so much of that in therapy too, that you learn a lot about yourself, of just how to talk about what is going on or what your preferences are, or what saying no when you don't enjoy something, right? Yeah. So another, you mentioned you work with children as young as 7, and that's kind of in the name of the clinic is play therapy, and that's kind of what piqued my interest as far as why I reached out to you guys to be on the show. Is I'm sure therapy does not look the same with a 50-year-old as it does with a 7-year-old. So tell me a little bit more about play therapy, what that looks like. Obviously, there must be some play involved, but yeah, just how you and your team work with your younger clientele.
So play-based therapy is, the explanation that I like to use is play is the language that children use, and toys are the tools they use to communicate this language to us. So in a perfect world, I would have a 7-year-old come in and say, this is exactly what's wrong with me. Here's a list of all the emotions I'm experiencing and need help with. Not to say there isn't people out there that are that young and have that level of awareness, but usually they just don't have that vocabulary built yet. So play-based therapy is a way that we can help sort of have them tell their story and have them communicate in ways with us where we're putting the pieces together and going, oh, okay, this is what's going on. And we help them with that labeling and that understanding. And then once that foundation's built, we can start doing the work to, let's see where this is coming from, or let's see if we can build some regulation strategies and some coping strategies to help you process these really big emotions that, for specifically like a 7-year-old, they've only been on earth for 7 years. So they haven't had as much experience as a 50-year-old in navigating difficult emotions like grief or heartbreak or betrayal, because these are all things that we experience at any age. And yeah, it's just play-based therapy is there to help them with that communication and understanding.
Okay. I was going to say there's still some adults who have a hard time, like, you know, naming and working through big emotions. So that's wonderful that you can kind of cater or use it in a way that is more accessible to children. So I don't know if you could share a little bit about some of those resources, like you said play, but if you could kind of share a few other things that you might do with some of your clients.
So we have in our offices a variety of different games and toys and figurines and stuffed animals and everything designed towards what children would find in their homes and would like to play with. But the sort of magical part is a lot of our games are specific towards like emotional regulation or understanding emotion card games, a little bit different than a typical game like Uno, which we do have games like that as well. And when it comes to our toys, there are different exercises that we can use and sort of set up and guide in a more of a directive approach, where the child still thinks we're playing and we are still playing and it's fun, but there's a different approach behind it that's helping us as the therapists sort of unpack what's going on.
Right.
It's a little bit like a backdoor way to therapy. I've heard people explain or describe, and I really like that because it's not super directive or it's not super direct, even if we do have a little bit of a directive approach, but it's more fun and more unserious for our younger kiddos.
Yeah, which is what they probably need, especially as they're going through something challenging, right?
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. And, you know, just like therapy, I believe self-care is unique to all of us as well. So what's something that you do? What fills your cup? What helps you take care of yourself so that you are nourished to have the energy and the presence to work with others?
Well, one thing I've been doing recently is really limiting my screen time. So I have apps set up where on my phone and my laptop and whatnot. So I'm really trying to focus more on being out and present because I find spending time with people I love and being out in nature specifically and with my animals really helps me fill that cup up and sort of charge my batteries. So when I'm going to work or when I'm going to any of my volunteer responsibilities, I'm showing up fully present and with a full cup so I can support the people that need it in the best way possible. And I find a big thing to that, or a big way that I've been able to achieve that, is to limit or be very mindful of my screen time and just everything that I'm consuming.
Yeah, that's a huge one. I'm glad you mentioned that because, you know, the world is quite heavy.
Yes.
And even without it being a heavy time, just that intake of information, I don't think people really realize how impactful that can be. We're not supposed to really be taking in so much information at one time, and it's constant, really. So, yeah, I love that. So you say apps, like you have certain apps that can help you. Yeah.
Certain apps that you can block your social media with for just like however much time a day. And just really getting outside when it's nice, when it's not nice. I find nature very grounding and centering personally. So that's, my two recommendations, I would say.
I like that. Also, you had mentioned to me earlier that something that really inspired you growing up was working with animals. I don't know if you want to mention a little bit about how that led you into the work that you do too.
So growing up, I grew up on a hobby farm and we had a various variety of different animals. And my mom used to run an animal assisted therapy business. And that sort of introduced me to, oh wait, we can use animals in therapy. It's not just you're sitting in a room and chatting. You can actually have, you can be outside, you can be working with animals. And I just, like, my mind was blown when I was exposed to that type of therapy. So it's something that I've always kept in the back of my mind. I'm still very close with animals, owning my own horse, and I'm an absolute dog person. And I would love to pursue something like that in the future. I think it's a really great tool, and it's a good resource for people to know that it's out there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Wonderful. So stay tuned. We're going to chat more with Emma after this short break. Welcome back to Flourish and Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, joined today by Emma from Counselling and Play Therapy Services. So as you know, the show is called Flourish and Flow. And I love the word flourish. You know, it's like, how can we support ourselves to live a life that is impactful or fills our cup or that we enjoy, you know? So how would you describe that? What does flourishing mean to you?
When I think of flourishing, I think of doing the things you would have enjoyed doing when you were younger, and doing them now. I find as we get older, yes, our interests change, but we kind of hold ourselves back from really doing things that we used to do when we were younger, or watching a movie that we used to love when we were younger, just because we think, oh, you know, I'm not 10 anymore, or I'm not 15 anymore. But if it still brings you joy, I think you should do it, whatever that looks like. So just really thinking what makes me happy and just doing it, because you owe it to yourself to do that without worry. It's hard to worry about judgment from others, and especially with the way everything is now in the world. But I think that you should just really, you owe it to yourself to just, take some time out of a day to do the things that make you happy.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, as soon as you said that, it made me think of my son. He's 3.5, but like to see the world through his eyes, and like my husband and I both say this, like we're doing things with him that we might have done, or just like going fun places, like coming to the park. It connects you back to, what being a kid felt like. And we have a lot of fun with him, and it reminds me of like, oh yeah, like I used to do these things. So what were some of those things for you? What does that look like for you?
Mine would be hanging out with friends and people I love, which I know can be challenging as everyone gets older and everyone's schedules are so busy, but really prioritizing that. Spending time in nature again, and listening to music, artists that I used to love when I was younger and growing up.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like example would be I was a huge One Direction fan back in the day, and even now, like I'll still listen to their music, and it just brings me back to when I was 13, and that made me really happy.
I love that. That's a good one. And I'm curious, like when you're working with kids, like does that connect you back to that feeling of like, being a kid and what that looks like? Kind of seeing the world through their eyes with the clients you have?
Seeing that wonder and how easy the excitement comes, or the gratitude, just as a really big reminder that we haven't lost that. It just feels like we have, and we can still practice that. And I notice the more I do practice like that wonder and gratitude, the more beautiful and exciting everything actually becomes.
Absolutely.
It's a big perspective change in a really good way.
Yeah, I think people forget, myself included sometimes, like those are things that we can actually practice, connecting to joy, those little moments of joy, and like really taking them in, because there is things to connect to like that every day, like these beautiful mums behind us, or like just walking through your garden, like. But we get so busy and focused on all the things we have to do that then it does become hard to connect to those special moments that are there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just takes practice. It's still there. I always say it's still there, I promise. It's just waiting for you to acknowledge it again.
I like that. Thank you for sharing that. So something fun that I like to end the interviews with is called the lightning round. So just fun pop questions. Emma doesn't know what I'm going to ask her. Put my clipboard up. So first thing that comes to your mind, favorite movie?
How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet.
Oh, they have a live action one out now. It's very good.
Good. Okay. Biggest pet peeve?
Chewing, or people that chew with their mouth open.
I agree with that one. Just like the chewing sounds. Favorite day of the week?
Probably Sunday.
Okay. For what? Any reason?
It's usually my cleaning day and like downtime day and just reset day.
Yeah. All right. Top thing on your bucket list?
Return to Ireland.
Ooh. Okay, so you've been there before?
I've been there and I would love to go back.
Okay. Fave place to visit in southwestern Ontario?
Stratford.
Yes, that's a good one. Sushi or pizza?
Sushi.
Summer, fall, winter, or spring?
Fall.
Yeah, we're going into it. This is your season. And what are you looking most forward to this fall? Is there anything?
I have a feeling we're going to be blessed with a really good weather for fall. So I think just really enjoying a bunch of fall activities.
Yeah.
Now that it's my first September outside of school.
Okay, nice. And this is a good one. How do you want people to remember you one day?
I guess as someone that showed up as their authentic self, even if they were scared to do so.
Something I think would be helpful, and for myself too, my son just started kindergarten, but going back to school, no matter the age, is a big transition. And school can be tough for kids these days too. So I'm wondering if you have any tools or resources, or how can parents, recognize those signs that their kid might be having a hard time and need some support?
That's a really good question, especially with everything. Like you said, all of the schools going back in, even high school too, for high school students. One thing that I keep seeing is the dysregulation in building a new routine, a routine that's different from summer. There can be a lot of big emotions that can show up in ways where you might think your child is being lazy or is not motivated, but really that could just be that they're overwhelmed. And it can be tough for parents because our children don't always verbalize exactly how they're feeling.
Yeah.
So I always recommend for parents to just really come from a place of curiosity and compassion when it comes to these back to school transitions, and to know that there's support out there for parents as well when it comes to supporting your kiddos through that, and just labeling how they feel and validating how they feel and modeling yourself ways that you regulate yourself or ways that you show up for yourself or take time for yourself, because our kiddos see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's a good one. And how can people get in touch to book a session with you or learn more about your team, the services offered at Counseling and Play Therapy?
So our website, Counseling and Play Therapy Services, is the best way to get in touch with all of us. Our phone number is linked on there as well. And each therapist's biography is there, and our emails if they want to reach out to a specific therapist to get in touch with sessions and availability. I think that would be the best way.
Okay, so head to the website. And, if anyone's still hesitant of pursuing or seeking help, is there any last words that you would share with someone who's still on the fence as to whether it's for them or feeling like uncomfortable?
Yeah, just that's normal, and to really validate that's okay, and it makes sense that you feel that way. And if you need to take some time before you reach out, you can absolutely do that. But just know that there are supports available to you when you're ready to seek them out.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Emma, for being on the show. On behalf of our show sponsors, a big thank you to Bree and Kyle from Bree's Fresh Market, Laura from Escape Salon and Spa, and Jen from Hometown Styles in Ingersoll. Until next time, may you continue to flourish and find your flow.